Today I need to sort out the excessive wear on this tipper trailer. So that's the wear on this portion of the trailer. Now for the underside portion. Its bosses that house the pin also have some wear. It's not as bad as the other portion, but we may as well do everything, so it's good as new when I'm finished the repair. I set up the line boring machine on the trailer to enlarge the bores. I am not going to weld up the holes and bore them back to size. I need to better engineer this pivot point because the original design was not durable. So I'm enlarging the hole to insert these hardened bushings. It originally pivoted with a mild steel pin in a mild steel bore, and that's no good for friction and heavy loads. Once both bores were on a press fit size for the hardened bushings, I could move on to the under portion. I could line weld these bosses and bore them back to size, but I'm taking a quicker alternative. I just gouged them out. You may disagree that this way is quicker. Well, most of the welding was cracked holding these bosses, so I was going to end up re-welding them anyway. So I'm skipping repairing their bores, and I fabricated new bosses. To align the bosses, I inserted my boring bar with the same diameter as the pins they house. Then I took measurements from the trailer to get the correct gaps between the bosses. Once they were aligned and spaced out correctly, I welded them in. Alright, so the bosses are in. I'm now going to press in the hardened bushings on the trailer. And of course, I used my puller. It works like a dream. First set in, time for the next. Alright, so the hardened bushings are now inserted. They cannot work on a mild steel pin, so I fabricated new pins made from induction hardened chrome shaft. I inserted grease ports into the pin. I've made sure to keep the side with the grease ports facing outwards on the trailer. This will make it easily accessible for greasing, so there's no excuse for the driver not to grease this pivot point. And if it's not greased as often as it should be, I have a backup plan. I'm going to insert seals to keep the grease in these bores. All the repair work is now complete. I now need to assemble. Let's have a better look at the spacing and the alignment to see if I made a balls up. Everything looks good and perfectly aligned. So I inserted the first pin. And look at that. Perfect fit. Just need to insert the locking bolt. And now for the other side. And I was happy with the outcome here. Everything fitted perfectly, and it has been better engineered to last longer. I greased it up and tested the pivot point. All was good, so I touched up with some paint. I reconnected all the pipes and wiring, and the trailer was ready to be collected. Thanks for watching. Check you in the next one.